During your second week at the MIT App Inventor Station, you'll be creating the app that you see here on your screen. If you missed last week, don't worry about it. I'll explain briefly what you see here. On the left is the MIT App Inventor website. And on the right, I have an Android phone emulator that's displaying the code that I wrote. What the app is it's an app that takes a picture and then using the camera button, and then you can click on one of these colors and you can draw with it. If I just point and click, I'm going to get little circles. If I pick blue, I will get blue circles. And if I want to draw, I can click and drag, or point and drag, as you will on the tablet. And there you go. So you can draw whatever you like on your picture, and then hit the clear button to erase and start with a clean slate. So let's go ahead and start this app. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click Projects and start a new project. I'm going to call it Camera Paint, but you can call it whatever you like. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some things from my palette to my screen. Then I will see them listed under components, and then I can change the properties of each item. So the first thing I'm going to add is a new item. It's called, under Layout, a horizontal arrangement. And I'll explain what that is. If I go back to User Interface so I can add some buttons, I'm going to want to add 4 buttons across the top. Notice when I add these buttons, they don't go this direction. They go one under the other. If I put them inside the horizontal arrangement, now they are side by side, which is what I want for my layout. So I'm going to add another one. It's a little tricky to add them inside the layout, but if you just kind of drag it over the last item, you'll get it in there. If you miss, it's no big deal. Just try again. Just drag it back up inside. So now I have 4 buttons, although they are going off the screen here. I can click them here in the components view if I wanted to do that. I'm going to rename each one of these using the rename button. I'm going to call the first one camera button. I'm going to call the second one red. I'm going to call the third one blue. And the last one clear. Then I'm going to start setting the other properties, like this text. Nobody wants their button ever to say text for button 1. So I'm going to pick the camera button first. Make sure you have the right one selected. And I'm going to change that to the word camera. And I click off. Now it's going to say camera. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the red button. And I'm actually going to remove the text for that button. I don't need any text on that, but I will change its background color to red. And notice it's a little bit short. I'm going to give it a height of 15 pixels. You can pick however high you like. Just make sure they're all the same height. So when I click on the blue button, I'm going to change it to background blue. I'm going to get rid of that text for button 3 text and set its height to 15, just like the other one. And the last button, the clear button, I will change its text to clear. One more component I'm going to add on the left here under media. I'm going to add the camera object. I'm just going to drag it right here. It's going to be listed under non-visible components, so be careful if you are scrolled down and you don't see that. You really did add it if you see it here under components. So I have my camera. I'm also going to add under drawing and animation, I'm going to add a canvas, and that's going to be where I do my drawing. So let's change, just like we did last week, we're going to change to make, the width of our canvas is going to fill the parent, and the height of our canvas is going to be 80%. So it gives us a little bit of room for our menu up here. So now I'm ready to add some code, which I will do under the blocks view. Because remember, the designer view is what we see, and the blocks view is what it does. So first, just to make sure that we finish the program, we're going to focus on these 2 colored buttons and the clear button. And if you have time, you can then write the code for the camera button as well. But we're going to get at least a drawing tool out of our time today. So I'm going to add a code for the camera, for the red button. I'm going to say when the red button is clicked, and then I'm going to put the code in here to change something about the canvas. The canvas's pen color. So I'm going to click on canvas, and I'm going to go down until I see set paint color. So I'm going to set canvas 1's paint color to, and I'm going to get that under colors. I'm going to have to scroll up to find red. Click it right in there. I'm going to do the same thing for blue. I'm going to say when blue dot click, and a little shortcut, I'm going to right click on this green part and duplicate it. I don't have to find that one again. And then I can just go here and just pick the blue that I like. So now I have the code set to set the pen color, or paint color rather, to red and blue for those two buttons. The next thing I will do is make the canvas draw a little circle when I touch down on the canvas. So I'm going to go back to canvas, and I'm going to say when the canvas is touched, I want it to draw a circle. And that is actually also under canvas, draw circle. So I have 3 arguments I have to supply. I want to know in the X direction, which is left and right, where should the circle go? And in the Y direction, where should the circle go? Then the radius is how big the circle is across. If I choose these things up here, notice there's these like peach colored items. These are things about this event. So this is useful here because I want to know the X of what was touched. So wherever the user touched their finger down on the screen is going to give me the X and the Y of where they touched, and that's exactly where I want my circle to go. The radius, I'm going to go under math, and I'm going to just put in a 5. Make it a nice small circle. A nice addition to this program would be for you to add logic to allow the user over here somewhere to change how big they want their circle to be, or how big the line is for drawing. That would be a neat addition. So now I have, if I click on red and I dot, I'm going to get red circles, and if I dot, I'm going to get blue. So now I know my pen colors are working and my touch code is working. The last thing I'm going to do for my canvas is handle the drawing, which is under dragged. When canvas 1 dot dragged, that means when I drag on top of the canvas. So when that happens, I'm going to go back to canvas. I want the canvas to draw a line. So I'm going to scroll down here to draw line. And here the arguments are the X and Y of where I was before and the X and Y of where I am now. So what it's going to do is it's going to draw little lines one after another. So I'm going to get the previous X and the previous Y, and then the current X and the current Y. And that will draw a bunch of little lines. So if I try it over here, oops, I missed. That's called a mistake. There we go. So now you'll know right away if you get unexpected results that something is wrong. So there we go. Now that I need to add button behind the logic behind the clear button. So let's go ahead to the clear button. And I'm going to say when the clear button is clicked, I want to clear this canvas, which is under canvas. There it is, canvas.clear. So now I can erase this, and nobody knows I made a coding mistake. There you go. Okay, so the last piece of code, this by itself is a fun drawing game, and although you may want to add more colors, and you know how to do that now by just repeating what you did for the red and the blue. But let's try and make that camera work if you have time. So we added over here a camera button. So I'm going to add an event when the camera button is clicked. That's my camera button, by the way, right here. When it's clicked, I want it to take a picture. So I'm going to get that under the camera. I'm going to say when I click this button, take a picture. That by itself doesn't add the picture to my canvas. I have to add code to do that. So I'll go to the canvas, and I will say, oh, I'm sorry, one more. I have to say after the picture is taken, I want to change the canvas. Then I'm going to go back to canvas, and I'm going to say, and be careful you don't pick the wrong one here. You want to set the background image, not the background color. And then I need to put the argument, what image does it want? Luckily, I have it right here because this is the camera's little helper of what just happened. So this I can't show you on the emulator, unfortunately, but take my word for it, when you run this on your Android tablet, it's going to work just great. So if you are finished with this part of it, great job. Like I said before, I would add more colors if you have time, and try adding a slider, which would allow you to, here's a slider, I'd put it inside here, which would allow you to set the line width of your line that you draw, or you can have another one to change the width of the circle, or you can use one slider that governs both. But that will be a challenge for you to try to complete if you finish in time. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Get the handout that was supplied to you by your teacher and go ahead and write this code.